Welcome to Pioneer Mindset, a place where we challenge our mindset and address the discomfort in both business and life by finding clarity resulting in bold conviction. I'm your host, Garrett Ruskamp, fifth generation farmer, husband, and father from rural Nebraska. Whether you're navigating frustration from past decisions or worry about the uncertainty you face today in your business, we're going to learn from our struggles and take on new challenges with a resilient mindset. Join me as I share my journey of struggles I've faced in agriculture as a farmer and family man. I'm ready to dive into honest conversations to tackle the mindsets surrounding key issues that rural ag business owners face that will ultimately help you gain control, leading to a profitable and sustainable business. Let's adapt to Pioneer Mindset and get to it. Welcome back, everyone. For today's episode, I want to talk about something that I'm currently going through. I'm currently going through a challenge, or earlier this week, has definitely been a challenge. And now you're probably thinking, well, no matter what, I feel like we're always going through challenges. We're always going to have obstacles. And I always tell myself we need to see all of these obstacles as opportunities. Well, sometimes, as we know, that's easier said than done. So I feel like, whatever you're going through currently, that's a challenge. Think back to what that is. Well, I'm going to kind of share a little bit about what I'm going through, what this week has looked like for me. So basically this last week, we've been extremely busy. The week prior, we actually were on vacation for a few days, got home, and I just felt like we had a Friday the 13th, even though it was only Friday the 12th. That's just kind of the way things worked out. But I felt like I got back and I had an issue with the tractor. Kind of a new to us tractor, kind of had some electrical issues, and I was basically dead in the water for a little bit and didn't know what to do there. So I had an issue there. Still trying to get our combine back up and rolling so we can get ready on wheat harvest. We got in the part that we needed, wrong part. Okay, well, let's get the next part coming from John Deere. And of course, they didn't have it, so they had to flash it, which is an extra couple $100 there. And I already had to pay that for the first one that they flashed and was the wrong one. And so that was a struggle. And then the right one that they got us, this right part for the combine, was way more expensive than the original one. And it was not a cheap part. This was to be specific, it was a reverser for the drive on the header. And the part, let's be blunt here, the old part that was not the right one was $6,200. The new one was $7,800 for this one part for the combine. So that was frustrating. I had to get that up and going and try to make sure everything was good there. And then on top of that, we were trying to spray fungicide and foliar feed on our corn. And our sprayer started having issues. Our sprayer is not new. Let's face it, it's been used a lot. And so we started having issues. And it was electrical issues. I feel like those are sometimes so frustrating, because you're literally searching for a wire and a wiring harness of 500. And so we had some electrical issues there where every single day this week I've had a tech from Deere, Mother Deere, that definitely does not do things for free, have had them out this week. And that's definitely kind of been a challenge, dealing with things on the business front, dealing with all the challenges that we have to face usually on a day-to-day basis. There's always going to be something that comes up. There's always going to be some sort of fire that we have to put out and we have to address. Like I've mentioned before, there's always basically obstacles, and we need to address those obstacles as opportunities. And so as I've gone through this week, and I've tried to be positive, I've mentioned this before, you got to try to control what you can. And one thing that you can control is your attitude and your perspective on things. Okay, so that's great. I tried to do my best I can, try to roll with the punches, but either way, it's definitely been a challenge. It's definitely been a challenge because all I see when these breakdowns happen is dollar signs. And so that's kind of a lot of anxiety and a lot of scarcity built into that. And so that's hasn't been very fun. And so let's just face it, there's always going to be challenges in everything that we're going through. So I was actually reaching out to a friend just to see how he was doing. And I was just trying to catch up. We use this voice messaging app called Voxer that we can kind of send a message to. That way, if we're not, available, we can kind of get back to each other here and there. And he's always been a good friend to talk to in different times. And so I was just checking in to see how things were going for him. And I was just kind of sharing my frustrations of the week, honestly. And so I was just kind of sharing about that. And I'll give credit where credit is due. His name is Brooks. Brooks, thank you for giving me this advice. I really appreciate it. But he mentioned something that even his grandpa had told him at one point in time. is better the barn than the house. Now, if you know what that means at all, it's kind of the first time I've ever heard this phrase, but I really thought in my head, man, that just makes sense. We've always heard this. Well, at least you got a good home front. At least your family situation, everything on your personal side is going well. And I definitely think that's true. We need to definitely focus on that. I'd rather have my barn burned down, or in our case, going back to our past where we had a hoop barn, which was the main staple of our operation, where instead of burning down, it blew away. Well, it had damage from wind. And so I'd rather it be the barn than the house. I'd rather have issues on the business front than the house or the home front or the family or the personal side of things. And that's so true. I'd definitely rather have that. And so you hear that, okay, yes, I would rather have issues in the business, because at the end of the day, if everything got taken away from me, as long as I got my family, got my faith, I've got my kids, my wife, all of that, at the end of the day, I'll be okay. Now, sometimes that can be really hard to believe. It can be really hard to actually let that sink in and trust in that and have faith in the fear, have faith in the challenges, and see the opportunities and obstacles like I keep talking about. That can be very challenging sometimes. And so I was definitely trying to really focus on this and really think about this. And the interesting perspective that I was thinking about as he told me this, and as I was just kind of pondering on this, is I feel like in my instance, in my case, I've been very fortunate in that the house side of things, the personal side, the family, has always been pretty good. We kind of went through a rough stretch, last year when we lost our son Sam on the personal side of things. So that was a struggle for sure. But to kind of go back, everything besides then, we've been very blessed. So I feel like I don't necessarily know what it's like to have the house completely burned down or be blown away, or to really go through a lot of challenges and struggles. And so sometimes it's hard to actually feel that weight. Okay, if I'd rather have one or the other, I'd rather have the barn burned down, because I don't actually know what it would be like, feel the weight. I've never actually gone through, some big issues in the house, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm not wishing that upon anybody. I'm not wishing that I have to go through any of that, but it's hard to put that in perspective sometimes. And so what I'm getting at here is I feel like even though I say that in my head, I'm still struggling. I'm still thinking about that issue that I'm dealing with on the business side, the barn, the farm. I'm still dealing with that. At the end of the day, I'm going to come home. I'm going to try to be present. I should definitely try to be present after hard days. You would think you'd be more present with your family. You'd be able to release everything on the business side of things and just be there. Be grateful, because you have that. You have that asset. You have that blessing. And I guess I do that as much as I can. I really try to. And sometimes it's just hard to see that, because all you're thinking about is the business. You want more than anything. Sometimes you just want more than anything for the business to succeed, and you promise to go away on the business side of things. Because I was thinking about, okay, for somebody, and maybe you are one of those that has had big challenges on the home front, in the house. Maybe you struggle to get along with your wife. Maybe you've got a really rocky relationship with your parents or your dad, or maybe your kids. I don't know what that's like. I'm not going to try to pretend like I do, but maybe that's you. To where I feel like if I had to say from the outside looking in, somebody in that situation, they would probably, I feel like you need to always run to something, you need to sedate to go to something else. So they would probably, run to maybe the business side of things. Maybe they become a workaholic. Actually, kind of thinking back through this, I'm thinking, well, I know somebody that we were pretty close with, who kind of worked with, where I feel like the home front was maybe not the greatest. And so he put all of his time, effort, and energy into the business side of things. And he was fairly successful. I mean, he did pretty good on the business side of things, but it definitely didn't help anything on the home front. And so, okay, you've got two areas here. I keep talking about the barn and the house. So maybe the house is rocky, so he's putting all his time and energy in the barn. And he's really focusing on that. Well, like in our situation, or what I'm talking about here, if you're following along with me, is maybe the business side of things is rocky. The barn side of things is, burning down a little bit. But yet we don't always tend to focus on the other one. We don't always tend to go away from that and be really grateful for the house and everything that we have there. You kind of following with me that I feel like even though we should be focusing on that, we don't. I don't. I'm very grateful for everything that I have, my family, my faith, my health. I'm very grateful for all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily sink in because I want so badly for us to succeed in the business side of things, to succeed in the farm, to do the best we can on the farm. And maybe that's just the way I'm bred. Maybe that's just the passion that I have in me. Maybe that's just how I was taught, trained, and conditioned. I don't know. But what I'm getting at is here as I wonder if that's similar to you. Is it like this for you? Because I feel like that's pretty common in agriculture and farming, that we're just so passionate about the farm and getting everything done there that we tend to lose sight on what we do have, the house. We have everything there on the personal front. So that's just kind of one thing I was thinking about as we were talking about this, and as he brought this concept up. Better the barn than the house. And so I was definitely trying to think about this and how I could really shift things. And I think literally that phrase is just one that a guy can remember, and one that you can walk inside at night and just try to leave your struggles at the door. Try to throw everything you got on your shoulders, all that weight that you're feeling from the business, from, hey, I'm going to actually flip this a little bit to, I was talking with one of my customers, or a client that I'm trying to work with here, and he was telling me some of the struggles that he was having. And it was, kind of dealing with some vendors or staying on top of his bills, essentially. He was falling behind. It was just this weight that he was feeling. And he said it was the first thing he thinks of when he wakes up, and the last thing that he thinks about before he goes to bed. And it definitely weighs on him, because he said that his daughter said that it just looks like he's not happy. And no matter what, kids, other people in our lives, they can always pick that stuff off. Now, I am not going to lie. I would be so jealous of somebody that can actually say, walk into the door at night, flip that weight off their shoulders like a feed bag outside, keep it out there so they can be present with their family, because I struggle with that more than anything. I'm just being open and honest about that, because that's not easy. That's something that I just feel like I have never been very good at. And so it's always kind of a work in progress. And I definitely feel like kind of a tidbit here that I think one person that can, or one trick that I think we can do, and I need to work on myself, is in order to do that, in order to throw that feed sack off of the weight on our shoulders with the challenges and struggles that we've gone through in the day, we need to set that phone down that we keep staring at. I feel like in my mind, I'm just trying to be as productive as possible, make the most of every minute of every day, of every hour that I'm trying to be on my phone. I'm trying to look at my to-do list, trying to, even if I'm on social media, which I'm on there quite a bit, searching for different things that I can do, or maybe searching how different people are advertising for different things, just so I can constantly be learning. And this tends to definitely get me overrun, because I'm definitely not being present. And so in that same token, because I'm not present, because I'm always trying to be productive, it tends to me to lose sight of what's right in front of me. When I'm currently in the house, what's right in front of me? From my doorstep looking in. Well, you got your family, you got your health, you got everything that you have on the personal side of things. And so there's just so much there that we lose sight of, because we're trying to focus on being so super productive, trying to focus on the business. I think we just need to take a step back, put that phone down, and maybe really try to focus on what we have and be grateful. Obviously, be grateful. I mean, that's just kind of an easy, low-hanging fruit to say there. Be grateful. So that's definitely one thing that I think I need to work on, is putting that phone down, trying to be more present. I think that's one thing that most fathers and businessmen could definitely try to work on. And as I was thinking about all this, you talk about the phrase, better the barn than the house. The one thing that I was thinking about, and maybe I'm the only one here, but I'm pretty good at quoting Disney movies, because I've got young kids and we watch Disney movies all the time. But right now I'm thinking of the movie Santa Claus 3. And where the Santa Claus, it says, business problems, work problems, those are challenge. But problems on the home front, those are problems. Definitely need to be grateful that challenges that we have that are within business like I said, try to do your best to think of them, all the obstacles as opportunities. And so for that, that's all I got for today. And I hope you found value in this, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for tagging along with me today as we sharpened our mindsets. If you've gained insight from today's episode, be sure to take a screenshot to share or send this episode to somebody who might also find value in it. For more, follow me on Instagram at Garrett Ruskamp or on Facebook, and join me next time for more conviction through clarity.